Talking about passion, I see Need Watch is here. Definitely want to have him on the panel. How are you doing, sir?
Doing good, doing good. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you very fine.
Okay,
Great
perfect.
voice.
Thank you, thank you.
Let me share my screen with you, and we're going to look at that. An interesting play right here.
Yeah, I mean it's dirt cheap right now. Granted, 2014 was a long time ago when they were up over $100 a share.
Yeah,
But
interesting.
it's yeah, and Fossil. It's not a. I would say they make kind of more designer watches, which is
Okay.
not a bad thing because designer watches are popular. So
Yeah.
while I wouldn't necessarily, there are a couple I buy, but they're not my bread and butter.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as an investment, what I mean, if you wanted to diversify your portfolio a little bit,
But
it wouldn't necessarily be a bad shot. I mean, it just depends though. I mean, this
no
market
worries.
is volatile.
But let me ask you this: so, what are the watches that you're passionate about? Like, if you had to say your top three watches, what would they be? Let's say that you, no question. Like, let's say that they're not even listed on the stock, right? But just out of like your passions, things you like, what would you say your top three would be?
Right now, I would say probably Omega, Rolex, and Grand Seiko, two of which are publicly traded. Funny
Really?
enough. So if we talk about Seiko is actually on the Toronto Stock Exchange, which will help you. Wouldn't help me any.
Why not? You can.
I don't. I can't. I don't know. Can I, as a U.S. citizen, can I get into
Of
that
course.
action? Oh, I
Of
didn't know
course,
that.
my man. All you have
See?
to do is to find a broker that will allow you to do
Oh,
that.
that's true.
Me, I have a broker that allows me to do that from the Toronto Stock Exchange and the US Stock Exchange. Like pretty much most brokers in Canada do that because the US that's where the money's at, right?
Right. Right.
But
So check
but
this out. I can give you it's 8050.t is
uh
there for
wait,
the Seiko, and that
let me
will
see if I can open more.
yeah, that one, the number may surprise you on the price on that.
I wanted to walk you through something too.
Oh, sure.
It's not mostly the price that matters
Well, that's
because
true.
you might see a stock that looks at $100 and you might think it's expensive, but when you look at the overall market cap, and it might be actually cheap. So, and
True.
that's why I ask you about your top three. It's because there is something I wanted to do. Because one of the things I do, and that's also for lesson for people watching, because I'm also using this as a guide to walk them through how I actually evaluate potential investments, right? So one thing you do is when you do find one stock in something that you're looking into, it's good to have a comparison with others in the niche, right? So on a good way, you could find maybe the most popular in the niche, and then you can find the least popular, and then see where your current stocks fits in. And I'll show you things I'm going to look at to evaluate that. So when I ask you this, the three top three that you want, I'm happy to hear two of them are listed, but it's because if you're passionate about it, you're going to do a lot of research, you're going to do the work, you're going to get some information that I may not know about because I'm not following the industry. That's one thing. The other thing is you can also use that as a way to compare to see if you're getting a bargain with the fossil versus omega. You see what I'm saying?
Got it.
So it's actually a strategic question when I ask. So what's the sticker for the new
For Seiko, it is 8050.t, which I guess that's a Toronto thing.
no
Yeah,
way.
8050.t.
What? Actually, it's
There it
actually
is.
worth
It's
that
right
way.
there. Yep.
TSE, Toronto Stock Exchange. Wow. I've never heard of stock like that before, man. This is crazy. I'm learning today. So yeah, Seiko Holding Corporation. And then now we have something to work with, right? And what is this? This is not even a price. To 21.98.
Yeah, they're killing the game right now, man. That Seiko's.
What's going on? All right. And you said that you had another one, correct?
Yeah, Omega is on the Swiss Stock Exchange. Let me
Okay.
find that one for you. Give me one second.
Sure.
Actually, we could
Perfect.
do if you want. There's another American one. Are you familiar with Movado?
Yes.
Yeah, Movado is on the New York Stock Exchange. MOV.
Okay, give me a second.
Yeah,
let
just
that
I don't know.
I'll let that
Sorry.
load up. But meantime, I'm going to pay attention to some of the things I see here.
All right, I'm gonna mute
Uh,
real quick while I find the Omega because I don't want to
yeah, no
background
worries, no
noise.
worries. In the meantime, let's say hello to Alonzo Hall, the All Star Advisor. Salute to you, sir. Salute to you. And is it above the 50 SMA? So a moving average, right? If you're looking at this, well, I make it color coded so it's easy to see. The green is the 50 moving average, and then the red is the 200 moving average. So the price right now is below the 50 moving average, which technically is at the moment it's a bear market. The other things I notice is if you see the 200-day moving average is above the 50-day moving average, that and two things to know if it's a bear market. First thing is, do you have a dead cross? And what is a dead cross? It's when the 200-day moving average is above the 50-day moving average. So that's a little bit of a technical analysis, but that's how you know it's a dead cross, and that's the first thing that requires to have a bear market. The second thing is the price action of today's time is below the 50-day and the 200-day moving average. And at the moment, right now, when it comes to fossil group, it is in a bear market. Why? Because the two conditions have been met. We have a dead cross right here in September 2021, and then we have the current day right now in April 20th. The price action is still under the two moving averages. So that's how you know right now it's in a bear market. A bear market meaning the sellers are in control. There are lots of sales, and then buyers maybe, hey, you know what? If you're interested in buying, it could be a good time because the lower the price goes, well, the cheaper you'll get it, right? So the more stocks you can stack up. The other thing is you can see the trend. The trend is about to curve and it's heading down. So it might be heading down like that for a while unless there is some price action. So if we're looking at technical analysis, that's what we're looking at. And we can do technical analysis on a macro scale and then more on a day-to-day approach, and I'll do that as well. But before I go too details on that, I love to do those comparative analysis first. So that's when I'm going to look at this one, for example, Seco. And what do we see? We see that, okay, we were in a bear market for Seiko around even up to February 2021. Then look at that. There was a giant pump right here that pushed the price above the moving average, which was the first thing that requires for a bull market. And then now we have the cross. We have the cross right here that happened in February. So now that's an interesting cross because this is a cross that symbolizes a bull market is coming for this stock. And then, but the price action is still undecided, right? It wants to be above and then it doesn't, it's still below today. So we're going to need more certainty from that stock from a technical analysis perspective. But if you want to make great investments, technical analysis perspective is not enough. You need more information. So I'm going to ask Needs Watches if he has the other.
I do.
Perfect.
So this is on, I believe, the Swiss Stock Exchange, but it is UHR.
UHR.
Yep. Swatch Group, the first one. Yep.
Okay, I'll choose this one because that's the Swiss.
Yeah.
market.
Yep. That's the one.
Perfect. All right. Let's see. $200. All right. So right now I'm not even looking at the price. What I'm mostly looking at is the trend, right? I'm doing an analysis on the market by analyzing, some of the top 2 watches that he is passionate about, but also getting a sense of what's happening in the watches sector right now. You could see that for the most part, it's been on a bear market, but there seems to be some action lately that symbolize that, hey, look at this pump right here. This is a nice candle today. So today, for some reason, maybe there was some good news or something. And the beauty of this stock is this one here. It's also a dividend paying stock. So that's interesting, right? Payment dates in May 2022. Last payment was in May. So once a year, it pays you. And the gross is $3.5 per stock. So per share, right? For every share you hold, you're gonna get $3.5 in for it, and sometimes it can be $5.5 in it. That's an interesting company. Interesting company. Usually we get it per quarter in the states, right? But this one, and sometimes rarely we get it per month. But this one is per year. Sheesh. And it's an interesting yield. Interesting yield. So a share like that, if you could get it below $100 or around $100, that would be a beautiful price. If you could get something like that here on the 180, 150 range, that would have been the probably arguably the best buys in a decade, right? So that's the way I see it. But that's an interesting pattern. We're gonna get into it. Okay, so the next thing I do, and after we're going to move to another sector too, but I wanted to spend the time and go over the one you wanted to talk about. But yeah, need watch is the first. The other thing I do is it's not the price that matters, right? It's the market cap. Okay. And one way you can do that is if you go on Yahoo Finance, maybe you type the ticker, it's going to tell you about the market cap. If
Yep.
you're using Trading View, which is it could look a little bit intimidated at first, but with some time you're going to learn how to use it, and after that it's pretty easy to use. You can get some information like it tells you a little bit about the company, and there is something about Trading View that I love. I mean, I'll try to zoom it for you guys here. Is it says more financials, right? So the first thing I do is, I try to get a group of stocks in the same sector to evaluate the one I want to invest in. So we want to see if this is a good investment right now, and we're evaluating the market of watches by looking at other big companies, right? And then what I do is I try to get a sense of the market cap of the companies. So we're looking at the Swatch group. And in terms of market cap, this one is a 13 billion company. $13 billion company. And it's still on a downtrend, and it's been on a downtrend since 2014. So there was a time in the 2012, 2013, this company was worth close to $30 billion. It's
Yeah, that sounds right. They were killing it, man. The 20, yeah, they were.
So from that perspective, it's technically a cheap price, because if this company can be worth $30 billion,
Right.
you see what I'm saying? From that perspective, I'm not saying it's cheap, but this is a much better price. This is half the price from almost 10 years ago.
Right.
All right. So that's one thing to do. But should you invest in it? It depends. Maybe maybe they are going to continue to go down. Maybe they're killing it on the watches, but financially they're not. Right.
Right.
So,
Right.
so that's where the question comes in. But I wanted to watch, 13 billion. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to do is the same thing for the Seiko, just to see what are we talking about here, right? What's the market cap? And the market cap is a simple calculation. It's the price per share times the amount of shares in circulation. So that number times the amount of shares in circulation creates the market cap, and that's how you know. But this one, holy cow! This one
Yeah.
is 88 billion. Man, I didn't realize there is companies in the watches market that was so much. That's almost $100 billion company.
Yes, sir.
Ooh. Wait, I'm gonna have to start looking into this, my man. This is interesting. Huh.
Yeah, I mean, luxury goods, and they've been around. A lot of these companies have been around forever, So, obviously, like you said, sometimes their financials might not be that good, but a lot of people buy this stuff legacy. And what I mean is, your dad bought it, or your granddad bought Seiko. Now your dad bought Seiko. Now you're buying Seiko. So they kind of get a weird position where they can stay relevant for a lot of generations. I mean, I do see that big dip that they had.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a giant deep. But look at this, man. Around that time, that means the company was twice as much than it is now. So it is almost at $100 billion now. So that was almost 200 billion.
Yeah, it's
That's
crazy.
overvalued, man. That's why it's deep. It is because when it goes like this, it's overvalued. It needs to correct itself. But you see the big value, even though that it's going down, and it's still at least it's still at least $40 billion. So if you could get this company around that price, man, that's a beautiful buy. But if it's not paying dividend, I don't know. You just might want to make price appreciation. But last time this happened, you see, last time it's touched this line here. If you, wait, let me put it on a monthly basis. You'll see what I mean. So we're looking at per month, right? I drew the line here. Last time the price touches this line, look how fast it went up.
Yeah,
Right?
that's kind of crazy, isn't it? I mean, it just had
So
a steady, yeah.
exactly. So right there, without even doing more analysis, just one thing you can look at. You can look at companies that I love. Wait for them to wait like this. You already know they've been like, this um, nice company that's been a long time. They're doing great products. So if something happened in the market, like a bad news, for example, anything like a bad news on the market can create, like, let's say someone does some awful act, recorded, right? And they recorded it, and let's say they're shooting something, and they're shooting it, and they had a watch from Seiko as they were shooting it, and that was caught
Right.
on camera. Something like that's gonna bring the market down, crash it, right? But does that mean Seiko creates bad watches? Absolutely not. So,
Right.
in terms of a product, in terms of a fundamental work, nothing changed. The only thing that changed was the perception of the public for a short period of time, and usually after a couple months, the price appreciates again. So, should something like that happen, right? And then the price crash all the way here, man, don't hesitate, man.
Right. You're right. No, I see that. I appreciate it, man, because I think this is the first time I've had someone kind of explain the technical analysis in a way that was easy to understand. So I appreciate you for that. Because
Hey,
I've
no
had
worries,
people
man.
try to explain it, and it's like, what? Okay,
Hey,
sure, I get it.
Hey, no worries, man. That's why we're here. That's why we're here. All right. So now we have a sense, right? We know you want a great company. So when you think about it, this company compared to Seiko is undervalued. If in your opinion they're making watches that are comparable to Seiko, but then it's 10 billion as opposed to how many billion? It was like what, 30?
88, we'll say right now.
Yeah, Seiko was 88, but the swatches was 80. It was 40 something.
Like 10, I thought, right?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
13.
13 billion. So you see the difference, right? So
Yeah.
from that perspective, if you believe that if you believe the Swatch company can raise in terms of brand to get to 50 billion maybe, then that's almost 5x on your money,
That's true. That's
right?
true.
So that's what I'm saying. $200 may not necessarily be a expensive price in comparison to what this company offers in the market and what the potential are, right? Now let's look at this one, Fosso, at $10. Again, we're gonna look at the financials. We're gonna try to get a sense of the market cap, and look at what we're seeing right now. The market cap is not even in the billions.
Right.
It's not even in a billion. It's 556 million. So all this company has to do, and it's been on a downtrend for a while, and we're going to go deeper on the downtrend, financial. If anyone wants to see the financial like information of this company, but what I see here is if this company could, because basically the watch game, it's all about branding, right?
Correct. Marketing and branding. Absolutely.
So the question is, are they suffering from previous action that they have made in the 70s, 80s that affects their branding and they will never reach a certain level? Or are they having a new CEO that is younger, that is approaching a new market? Like, you see what I'm saying? So things like that are extremely important to keep track of as you're evaluating this as a potential. But with that said, me, if I had the price here on the green line right here or at $2, I wouldn't hesitate.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%.
If you enjoyed this little short segment that we did, here's where you can click to find another short segment, or you can click right here to find the entire podcast. Take care, everybody. We'll see you on the next one.